Okay, welcome back. So now that we've got a good sturdy base to stand on and start working, I'm gonna get started on the furring strips. So we need to attach wood to the walls here, so we have something to screw our walls into, our tongue and groove walls. And then same thing on the ceiling. We're gonna put furring strips on each one of these beams that go across. I've got this 1x3 pine for the ceiling, and then I'm going to use these 2x2s for the walls. And then I have these L brackets, which will go kind of like that and give some extra support for the furring strips. Okay, so this is what I'm looking to do here. I'm trying to get this board flush, so I have a nice even wall across to screw the wall into. And you can see the brackets here. I've got a 1 5/8" screw here, and then these self-drilling metal screws go right into the metal. You can't really do this with regular screws. You need to get these. Okay, so I got the middle section finished. Now I just have to do the top section here and the bottom section. But I ran out of the 2x2s, so I think I'm gonna get started on the ceiling. One slight issue, this beam right here, for some reason they've built the van that's a 1/4 inch lower than all the other beams. So I'll have to rip that particular beam down 1/4 inch so that everything lines up when I put the ceiling paneling up. These are the screws you want to use for the ceiling. They're self-drilling. They're designed for going from drywall to metal, and they're 1 1/4" number 6 screws. And then I like to use this pine because it's flexible. See here, the ceiling's curved, but when you screw it in, this has a nice flex where it'll be nice and tight when you screw it in. You can see these beams have all these holes in it, so you don't want to drive your screw into the hole and miss. So what I like to do is just put all the screws in the wood ahead of time, and then you could just drive them all in at once. This way you won't miss. So there's actually 2 beams that are lower than the other ones. This one and this one. They're both exactly 1/8 inch lower than the rest of the beams. So I ripped those down, and now it's perfect. Everything's all lined up. So it's this one here and this one right here. Both need to rip 1/8 inch, about the thickness of the blade, off of the 1x3s, and then it should line up perfectly. All the beams are covered now. Now I just need to add one on the front and in the back, so I'll have something to screw the tongue and groove into. But there's nothing to screw it into on the van. You don't want to go through the ceiling, so I'll actually need to glue those in, and we'll do that at the end of the day. And I took my straight edge, just lined it up like that, and then you can measure from the ceiling. In the back, in the front here, it's 1 3/4 inches, and then in the back it's 2 inches from the ceiling. So I'll just need to build that up to get that height all the way across. So I spoke a little too soon. There actually is a beam in the front there. I just had to rip this down to a 1/2 inch thickness, and you can't fit your drill in here to screw in. So you might want to get one of these little angled drill bits that just spins, so you can put your drill just like that. Okay, so now I'm working on this top section. I had to cut a whole bunch of these pieces like this, little notch on each end, and then 10-degree angle on that side, and this is just a straight 90-degree angle. And it fits in here pretty nicely. That should be flush. So I've got about 14 of these to do, and then I'll add the metal brackets, the L brackets, to strengthen that. Top row is all done. I was able to use the brackets up on the top, and then just put one of those 1¼ inch screws right through the metal into the wood on the bottom. Came out pretty nice. Now I just need to do this bottom section here and here, and then we'll be done with the framing. For the last piece in the back here, I'm going to glue these 3 pieces of wood with some construction adhesive. I'll let it dry overnight, and then I can come back with this piece, screw that into these 3, and everything should line up with the rest of the ceiling. Okay, I've got everything in. All the walls are framed out. On the edges here, I can screw right into the metal. I made it flush with that all the way across, so no need to put a stud there. Looking pretty good. For the last piece on the ceiling that's gonna go up there, it's kind of curved, and I don't wanna pull the glued pieces, put too much stress on the glued pieces when I screw it in. So I've wet it down with some water. I'm just letting it dry like that, so when it dries it should be a little bit bent, and should screw in without pulling these off the ceiling. I just have these glued up here with some construction adhesive. Seems to be holding pretty well.